Welcome back into another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast. As always, we are James Foster and Corey Kinnan, and we are here to break down Week 9 of college football from an NFL draft perspective. We're going to do things a little different today. We're going to start out with our helmet stickers, and then we're going to get into breaking down some of the bigger matchups. But we're going to start there. We don't have a call to family this week. I think that's a good place to start. We didn't find that one prospect that locked in on a first round pick. We'll probably have to go over and recap, which maybe that's for tomorrow's episode as well to recap call the families we have had.
Yeah, check up, make sure that we weren't premature on any of those.
Didn't jump the gun. I don't think so. We're pretty safe with it. Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, James, back from another week of college football. How are we feeling on this Monday evening?
Feeling great. I'm about a week due to have my contacts mailed in, so rocking the bifocals once again. But yeah, man, it was a little bit underwhelming of a week as far as guys at the top of the board having big performances, but still plenty to talk about. So I'm excited to get into it.
Yeah, you got to get LASIK, man. That was the move.
Man,
that was the move. I'm getting LASIK.
When I take my glasses off, I'm so blind.
Same. I mean, I wore glasses my whole life, and then in March I got LASIK, and it's a whole new world out here.
That's scary to me.
So let's dive into these helmet stickers here. James, you start. You go first.
All right, my first helmet sticker is gonna be a player that I don't expect to be a top 120 pick. I'll be safe, but that's Tennessee quarterback Joey Aguilar, and the reason I wanted to highlight him, first of all, he had an outstanding performance against Kentucky, 5 big-time throws, 20 for 26, 396 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. I watched Joey Aguilar's Appalachian State tape, and there wasn't a whole lot there. And I still don't think there's a whole lot there in terms of NFL traits, but I think it's time to start talking about Joey Aguilar as a potential day 3 option for a lot of teams, like 5th, 6th round. And I know there's going to be the hesitancy with the Tennessee offense, which I would normally have. But if you watch Joey Aguilar's tape and, Tennessee's offense tape, they are executing a lot more NFL concepts this year. It's not nearly as gimmicky. Now, it's not like a pro-style scheme, but you can at least get a good read on, a quarterback's processing and decision-making. This game specifically, first of all, it was just pristine, deep ball placement. I lost track of how many dimes he threw 30-plus yards down the field. There was a really nice, dagger and then a couple nice backside digs. There was one at the end of the game where he hit a backside dig, took a hit, gave the receiver time to get extra yak. And then, you see him work to the backside of progressions pretty consistently, way more than Nico Iamaleava ever did. And then there was another play where it was awesome pocket movement, and I'll put it on the screen if you're listening on YouTube. Steps up, avoids the edge pressure, hits a sail route into a tight window while he's taking a hit, and then hit another post into the back of the end zone with anticipation. So just so many high-level throws on this tape alone from Joey Aguilar. And when you look at him throughout this entire season, he's been pretty consistent. He does have kind of a high interception total, 6 on the year. Only 2 of those are really his fault. His turnover-worthy play rate is 1.7%, and a couple of those were fumbles. So the decision-making has improved. I think that he can come in and he gives you a high floor in the sense that he can execute the offense, I think, but he also has kind of that gunslinger to him where he isn't afraid to make a big throw down the field. So to me, he's a ready-made backup.
Yeah, he'll be interesting because he kind of falls into the Diego Pavia category here. He played 2 years of JUCO. So technically, he's only played NCAA football for 3 seasons. So I think the Pavia rule here, I think he could technically come back next year if he wanted to.
That's true. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, 6'3", 225. That's a great frame as well, on a quarterback. So,
and he's fairly mobile
fun
as well.
Mm-hmm. He is.
Showed a lot more of it on his App State tape.
He did for sure. But talk about a guy that's been what a ride. JUCO to App State to UCLA to saying what the heck just happened with this Nico Iamaleava thing, to then going to replace Nico Iamaleava at Tennessee and then playing better than Nico Amaliava did at Tennessee, like in the same offense. It's bizarre. It's really a bizarre situation there for Aguilar, but like good for him, man. We'll see what happens with the Pavia rule, if that's upheld again for another year with the JUCO eligibility thing, or if he decides to declare. All right, so just a disclosure for mine here. I picked 3 pass catchers for my 3 helmet stickers. I don't feel great about it, but I did it. First one here, we're gonna give a shout out to Greg Jennings, the "put the team on my back" Greg Jennings meme of pulling the hamstring, or was it his groin or his hamstring? I don't remember. Mid rep of that Madden video back in the day, and limping into the end zone through Darren Sharper and all sorts of business. And Justin Jolie, tight end of North Carolina State, did the same thing this week. Jolie got praise from Dane Brugler coming into the week as well as one of his like favorite mid-round guys. And in a weak tight end class, like I think it's probably maybe time to have a conversation. Is this the second best tight end in the draft class at this point as well with Jolie? And I think what's worth the conversation there as well is like if you go back and look at him at UConn, you go back and look at him at his NC State tape last year, and you go back and look at him now, and you can tell a big difference in his body typing as well. Like a massive difference in how much mass is in his lower half. I think he's a lot denser in his lower half, and he's playing more explosive, and he's playing more physical as a pass blocker when he is asked to stay in protection as well. But in this game against Pittsburgh,
he's listed at 263.
He is listed at 263,
which is like just
that's huge,
night and day difference from kind of how I viewed him.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I
don't know if
really
I believe he's
263,
like
on tape.
But
yeah.
no. But he's definitely more dense than he was a year ago, and I think that's pretty evident. This game against Pitt, again, NC State lost this game, but the trick play where he pulls a muscle halfway to the end zone and limps into the end zone there was something. He finished the game 6 of 7, or 6 catches on 7 targets, 101 yards and 2 touchdowns, 44 yards of rack. And again, he's up to 365 yards and 5 touchdowns in the season. Again, for a tight end class that isn't very productive, Jolie is one of the more productive tight ends in the nation right now. So, I mean, we're talking since week 4, 63 yards, 60, 43, 101 with an 8-yard game against Notre Dame in there as well. But we're talking about pretty consistent production from the tight end position as well for Justin Jolie. So Justin Jolie's going to get my first helmet sticker here.
Yeah, and like this week, a lot of it was kind of uncovered leak route type of stuff. But when you go back through his tape, back to last year or earlier this season, like it's really high quality stuff. He's a detailed route runner. Last year he was dominant, like historically dominant in contested catches. That's kind of regressed a little bit. He's 4 for 10 this year, but still has shown some flashes. So yeah, I think Justin Jolie tight end 2 is valid, honestly. And I would he's pretty similarly built now that I think about it to Kenyon Sadiq.
Mm-hmm. I don't think he's that explosive, but yeah, for sure.
I think Sadiq's a better athlete. Jolie is a more refined player, probably. Sadiq's a more tenacious run blocker.
Yeah, I think I can agree with you there.
All right.
Yeah, you go for it.
Oh no, we're snaking. I always
okay.
mess that
okay.
up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
That's fine. Again, second pass catcher here. Dude, I don't know why we haven't talked about Chase Roberts earlier than this week, because he's had a really strong season with BYU. Again, undefeated BYU in Big 12 play here. They had a come from behind win against Iowa State this past week as well. He has 591 yards and 4 touchdowns on the season. Listed at 6'4", 210. Chase Roberts had 8 catches, 128 yards in this game. Again, going over his routes, he is a very, very linear route runner. So like overs, post, verticals, like that's kind of his route tree.
Although they did throw him some like that exact information right now. 27% of his routes this year have been go routes, which is a lot higher than most people. And then the next highest route is posts at 14%.
So we're talking nearly 40% of his routes are vertical routes. Yeah. But he's having a really strong season, really strong hands. Again, he's got a lot of muscle mass in his upper half as well. So contested situations, he's he's playing pretty well at, sitting at about 45%, so right around that 50-50 mark on the year. Again, 128 yards in this game. If you go back to last week's game as well, he had a really awesome catch in the end zone, back shoulder with one hand against Utah as well in that win. I'm honestly like, I wish I would have watched a little bit more Chase Roberts when we did our mailbag last week, because JP asked the question about like who fits like the Puka Nakua power slot mold out of this class, and like
Yeah.
to me, like this guy's a pretty decent athlete. You had him like you got to have the tracking data at like 78th percentile in both acceleration and top end speed. So like
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty decent athlete. Really strong hands. This is a guy that I think could fit that power slot mold at the next level as well. Not super refined in his release packages off the line of scrimmage, and he's not like it's probably because they're both white. Like part of me wants to be like, oh, this is like an Alec Pierce type receiver, but he's nowhere near as explosive as Alex Pierce. Alec Pierce was an extremely explosive receiver coming out of Cincinnati that year, but I think this guy fits the kind of like power slot mold kind of receiver. Again, we have to have the conversation about this conversation with nearly every BYU player we talk about. He is a class of 2019 player. High school class 2019. So he did a 2-year Mormon mission before he started college, and now he's a 5th-year senior. So he is 7 years removed from high school by the time the NFL draft rolls around. But again, even if you're 25 years old as a rookie, like if you can get production out of a rookie contract in these guys, the NFL has proven that they'll take these guys day 3. Devon Vele is a good example of that with the Broncos as a rookie. He just got traded to the Saints, obviously, but they'll take these guys. They'll take these guys at day 3. So I think that's kind of what we're looking at for Chase Roberts too.
Yeah, I've when you said that he was your helmet sticker, I watched some of his targets, and he's definitely intriguing. Yeah, very athletic for his size. So I'm gonna get eyes on him pretty soon. My next helmet sticker is, let's go with Caleb Tiernan, left tackle out of Northwestern. I wasn't a huge fan of Tiernan heading into the year. I mean, I thought he was a good like top 75 caliber player, but uh, he has kind of the nightmare build for an offensive tackle because he's tall and upright with short arms. So he is 6'07", 320 with 32.5-inch arms, which is 4th percentile. Wingspan is 5th percentile. So he does have some physical limitations. He is a great athlete. 94th percentile acceleration score, 90th percentile speed score. That shows up on tape. Like when they have him pull, he gets to his landmark under control, and he can really make things happen out in space. What I was most impressed with in this game is, and really throughout the whole season, like we've talked about potentially doing like a risers episode maybe later down the week. Caleb Tiernan would be one of those guys for me because his hand usage is just so refined. Plays with independent hands, really good at the flash bait technique. You see a lot of inside hand punches. Like he can really mix it up. He has good foot speed. I worry about when guys can really centralize force into his frame. He just doesn't have the base, and the build that is going to naturally put a doorstop up to speed to power. So that is a concern for me. But in this game, they got into some real like true drop back scenarios because there were some game winning drives. He was really mixing up his technique, and he had the Nebraska edge rushers just locked up. And then in the run game, they had a couple explosive plays where they weren't running behind him, but the play broke because of a block he was able to make on the backside. And he can really like execute in I think all schemes as a run blocker. So I again, I worry about the build, but he's become a very intriguing player to me this year.
Yeah, he's another guy that got a shout out from Dane Brugler and his mid-round guys that he likes.
Oh, nice.
I wasn't a huge Tiernan guy coming into the season. So we'll tap. I haven't tapped back in either, so I'll tap back in there as well. We're gonna start doing our like mid-ish. I guess we're past mid-season now, but positional refreshes, I guess, is the best way to say that this week. Starting this week as well, we're gonna start with edge rushers, but so I'll eventually wrap around back to some of these guys that I haven't watched back into. And Tiernan's one of those guys.
All right, snaking back around, my third helmet sticker, Alabama linebacker Deontay Lawson. has really fallen down my board this year. A couple rough performances. This was by far his best game of the season. 5 tackles, 3 of those were stops, had a key force fumble, had a pass breakup, which like coverage has been, I think, by far his biggest weakness over the course of his career. It wasn't a super high quality pass breakup. It was kind of like stationary, just one on a tight end. But good to see him play the ball at the catch point there. There was another play where he was one in the hole with Lenore Sellers. He tried to juke him, but square up form tackle. So yeah, just a good bounce back performance from Deontay Lawson.
Yeah, that strip sack at the end of the game there. And again, we'll have a conversation about Lenore Sellers at some point tonight as well when we talk about that game. But Lawson needed the game big time because I don't think his tape has been stellar. And we've talked about on the podcast that Alabama defense as a whole, man, it's tough to find a playmaker on that defense. So if Lawson can step back up, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be
I
great.
thought Bray Hubbard had a nice game.
Mm-hmm. He's active, man. Like there was one play where he shot down into a robber roll and then immediately turned and ran back and then covered a post, which was beautiful from him there. My third helmet sticker here, again, 3 pass catchers here. Let's go Denzel Boston against Illinois. And I know everybody's been beating up Illinois this year with Xavier Scott out. But in this game, he had 10 catches on 13 targets for 153 and 1 touchdown. What makes me feel a little bit better about Denzel Boston based off of this game, he had 88 yards of yak in this game as well. So that makes me feel a little bit better. Was one for one in contested situations. Like I'm pretty weary of falling into the Keon Coleman trap again, and I think Denzel Boston fits that a little bit. But the stuff that he's able to do with the football in his hands, again, he has a punt return touchdown on the year as well. I think that separates him a little bit from that mold. That shows a little bit more of that fluidity and playmaking ability that makes me a little more lax of not falling into the Keon Coleman trap with Boston. Again, this game was another example of that. So Denzel Boston, man, you're getting my third helmet sticker here, up to 668 yards and 7 touchdowns of the season now.
Yeah, I thought it was like kind of a tight end route tree type of game. Like they had him running down the seam.
Yeah,
I feel like big slot is kind of going to be the role for Denzel Boston. I'm starting to.
Is just everybody
way.
A big slot? Is that?
I think so. If I ever, here's the thing: if you ever run a go route and you don't separate, big slot.
Everybody's a big slot. Yeah, I love it.
But in all seriousness, though, like I don't know. Think about Denzel Boston one-on-one with Denzel Ward. Like, is he going to beat him in a foot race?
No. Never. No. Yeah, that's a fair point. All right. Let's move into we've got 6 games pulled out here we want to talk about from this past week, the past week's slate of the top 25 teams here with some NFL draft implications. So, starting with the big noon kickoff here, Indiana took care of business, man. 56-6. Again, this was a Mendoza game where like he just had to sit back and rip RPOs because they were up early and then never let out. So like last week was like, yeah, Mendoza showed the full arsenal of all of the throws he can make. This week, it's like, all right. His one interception this game was a pass that was batted down at the line of scrimmage too and picked off by a defensive lineman as well. So like not even really a turnover worthy play from him. Yeah. So again, it was a clean game, 15-22, 168, 3-1. Like but again, his brother was playing by the fourth quarter. So
he did show some real burst on that touchdown run. I didn't think he had enough legs to win the corner. So that was impressive to see.
He had a couple nice runs in this one as well, I thought. So yeah. Again, the lateral movement is still a little lumbering for Mendoza, but once he's got that foot in the ground, because I thought he showed that on Cal as well. He had a few chunks where he was scrambling and picked up some pretty decent chunks as a scrambler as well. But he is a little bit of a lumbering lateral mover, but again, yeah, I like the burst there.
And I think it might be, I guess maybe, the acceleration from, second to third gear seems to be pretty good, but it's from a standstill. Like he kind of gets cinder block feet in the pocket sometimes when he's trying to, at the last second escape pressure.
Yeah, I definitely see that for sure as well. But again, 15-22, 168, 3-1. did nothing to move off of being potentially the first quarterback off the board, being a first round pick in this game. Is there any? I mean, I want to say, is there anything he can do? But the quarterback draft stock is like it's a glass house. I feel like it's always a glass house because even Mendoza, the three quarterbacks we're talking about are all potential playoff teams. If these guys even go into the playoffs and play horrid, even if a strong season, like that's going to leave a bad taste in evaluators' mouths. So like, I want to say, like, is
Right.
there anything he could do that could push him out of first round talk? And it's like, yes, of course.
Oh yeah.
We're only in week 10, um,
I think
uh,
there are so few just players even
uh,
now that are first round locks. Like almost everybody could tank their way out of the first round
yeah,
if they just play terrible. There are
yeah.
probably a few that could survive it. That might be an interesting thought experiment. But
Well, that's basically what Call the Family is, right?
yeah,
I thought,
essentially.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you can just hang it up this year. But there is a weird sort of thing with Mendoza compared to Dante Moore and Ty Simpson, where he has more experience in terms of snaps and dropbacks. But I feel like Simpson and Moore are more proven to a certain extent in terms of the things that they've been asked to do this year. Like they've more battle tested. But if you ask me, like how do I actually think they would perform in the exact same structure? I would put Mendoza absolutely in that tier with those guys. But like to me, I see Ty Simpson just be asked to do way more mentally than Mendoza is every week. Like
Mm-hmm.
Mendoza's entire season is like a Ty Simpson game and a half, maybe, of
Yeah,
like actual real NFL throws.
yeah. I think to an extent I agree with that. I would say that there's a lot on his Cal tape where it's like
Right.
this is clearly a team that is decimated roster wise or not very impressive, especially up front from his offensive line. Um, to where like he's clearly elevating them. And again with these with like I wanted to mention this with Aguilar as well. Like I think that we can have the conversation about like I don't know if offensive structure that they play at the college level is that big of a deal anymore. Like because if it is like you're gonna have to search a hard time to find a quarterback who has like is playing in an NFL structure, an NFL offense. Um, because I just think there's so much evidence of guys of like are they just passing the test in front of them? Like, if they are, then yeah, then he's showing me he's not an idiot. And he can learn a playbook, right? So like, and I think Drake May is the third overall pick, right? So like, to an extent, this is a fair conversation. To an extent, it's not. Drake May was playing in a Phil Longo offense at at North Carolina, and so like, very basic stuff, very basic structure stuff. And yes, New England walked him along slowly his rookie season, but he was starting by midseason by giving him first team reps in practice, but not throwing him out there till midseason. And he kind of struggled through it as a rookie as well. But like, that's to say, like, if a quarterback shows me that they can pass a test at the NFL level that's in front of them, no matter what the test is, that shows me that they at least have the wits to like know what they're looking at and to pick something up at the next level. So
Yeah, I mean,
I
I don't think that I don't think playing in an NFL or a pro style offense in college is important. I do think it's important or it's valuable to know a player's processing and anticipation. And
mm-hmm,
so regardless of whether the offense is quote unquote pro style, what I want to see them be able to do is get to their second and third read on time. I want to
mm-hmm,
see that they're comfortable
for sure.
throwing over the intermediate middle of the field. I want to see that they're comfortable throwing like whole shot sidelines. I want to see them throw outs with anticipation. I want to see them throw digs with anticipation into
Mm-hmm,
zone windows. I want to see them, like get to backside sit routes, like all this kind of stuff that can be within collegey offenses. As long as there's a few enough examples of that to where I know that you can do it, like that's really what I'm looking for.
yeah, I agree with that for sure. And I think that's a great segue into the Alabama South Carolina game because the South Carolina quarterback is struggling to do those things mightily. Um, I did a film room on Lenore Sellers, and I think it's just time to have the conversation, man, that this guy's not ready. I get the tools, and I get that some team might make him a guarantee, like, yeah, you're going to go early, and he might declare. The eyes have regressed since I said that he was like every week I could see a step,
Yeah.
kind of like on the staircase. Like I think that the past 3 has shown a pretty big regression, and I thought this game was really rough. Was really rough on Sellers. In terms of like what are you doing with your eyes and why is the ball not out? Like past 2 weeks specifically, like he's hitching a ton, and it's like why are we hitching? Why are we hesitating? Why is the ball not coming out? Like, yeah. So I think I'm to the point now with Sellers is like go back to school, man, and then find a different school.
Right. I've stopped like paying attention to him as a 2026 prospect. And like, if he declares, then I'll just go back and watch his tape. But I was obviously paying attention to him watching Bama defense, and I agree with your assessment.
Like there's like in the film room, this was the free preview of the film room, so I don't feel bad about saying this on a free podcast, but like there's a flood concept where he's like it's against too high, where his eyes are backside immediately. And I think that's a fine look. It was a flood concept front side with a backside dig. I think that's fine if you want to try to find the backside dig against a too high look. I think that's fine. And it even worked out well where Bray Hubbard, it's the play that Bray Hubbard rotated down into the hole as the robber. And I think he's got the dig there if he rips it on time because the middle field's open. But like he doesn't rip it on time. But even like, and I think that's a fine process, but like even with that, like play side, he had numbers to flood, and it was against cover 3, where the boundary corner carried deep, and then the flat defender carried to the flat, and the corner was there, the sail was there, the corner was there, and it's like why are like that's exactly how flood is dialed up to find like that's the exact look that flood is dialed up to carve up. So like what's the hesitation? Why did the eyes go backside? I think if you want to look at that too high, that's fine, but get the ball out. But then but why didn't you just take the concept if you saw like if this is what you anticipated? So just some like that. That's the stuff that I struggle with Sellers, man.
What would you put, like, if we're doing a stacked bar chart? What would you put percent chance that he enters the draft, stays at South Carolina, and transfers?
So I do think there is some loyalty at South Carolina, but again, if Beamer gets fired, he's gone. I think he's gone, and I think there's a good shot Beamer gets fired. I would say 10% stays at South Carolina, 25% declares, 65% transfers. Let's go 10% stays, 35% declares, 55 transfers.
35% declares. I would have put it a lot lower, but
Really,
I mean the
the thing
traits
that
are
just
there,
makes me think is that he's got the physical tools that we've been talking about Sellers since last April. Like sometimes in those cases, the guys just say like, yeah, if somebody's going to take me, I'm going, right? So that's what makes me think that there's still a pretty decent chunk that he could declare still.
Yeah, and we still need a few more years to see how much of a shift there is as far as like guys really wanting to get out of school and get to the NFL, because it used to be like you're eating ramen, not everyone, but I mean like
But
just
Carson Beck is making $6 million this year.
yeah, it's
So
like I don't know.
yeah,
There's obviously less relative appeal, but exactly how that breaks down and balances out will be interesting to see. Have you charted on the other side of the ball? Have you charted Ty Simpson yet this week?
Oh yeah, not
Okay.
this week, no, but
Okay.
it looked pretty rough from
Well,
the offensive all 22.
yeah, no, I'm
just
interested.
watching.
I'm interested from this week because my takeaway from this game is it was probably the worst Ty Simpson game of the year, at least against Power 4 competition. But my takeaway is like if this is Ty Simpson at his worst, I'm still on board.
Yeah.
Because I still thought it was like a really solid performance. I worry a little bit about the accuracy with Ty Simpson. I don't think it's great, especially short to intermediate. And the reason I asked you about your charting is because this week there were several deep balls that I felt like could go either way. Like there was one down the right sideline that I sort of thought Jeremy Bernard could have tracked better. I think it was maybe on target. There was another one like a dig
Mhm.
route or an over to Jeremy Bernard where it's just hard to see from the angle, like if he overthrew him or if it went right through his hands. That's where all 22 is actually not that great for the catch point. But
Yeah.
yeah, I thought Ty Simpson a game to forget, but it's not like really the one bad play is that he threw a post in double coverage and arm punt.
Yeah.
But I don't think at the end, I don't think when draft season starts up, we're going to be talking about the South Carolina game with Ty Simpson, you know?
Yeah. So I'm actually 2 weeks ahead behind on Simpson.
Okay.
But so if you take out last week and this week, I have him at 5 of 8 on deep balls, which is very successful. 16 of 18 or 16 of 28 outside the numbers, very good. 24 of 31 over the middle, very good. 79 of 96 short accuracy, which is about average short game
Okay.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that to me, he's still QB1. He also had another really great, actually a couple great plays with his legs to get first downs.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he would still be my QB1. I think that it's hard. It just goes back to the conversation we had where it's like, am I weighing too much what they're asking him to do? You know,
Yeah.
because like
I
I feel like Dante Moore might execute at exactly the same level in the Alabama offense,
mhm.
if I'm being honest, and maybe like Fernando Mendoza too.
They're all aggressive throwers, which is what I appreciate about them. And again, for Mendoza, you kind of have to go back to what Cal asked him to do versus what Indiana is asking him to do. And on the Cal tape, he's aggressive as an MFer. Like that dude is fearless on the Cal tape.
Ty
Um,
Simpson pre-snap is what like I think really sets him apart.
he does
Like you
undress a
can
lot
tell you
pre-snap.
can tell that he has even though he's inexperienced in terms of games played, you can tell that he's been absorbing this offense for a long
Mm-hmm.
time. Because I mean he's constantly changing the protections, checking them out of
Mm-hmm.
bad looks. Like I'm obviously I can't know all the details of like what the previous play call was, but he's constantly in command, and then the result is really good.
Yeah, he's undressing a lot for sure. And again, that's not something that Mendoza's asked to do at all.
Right.
At all. Same with Sorsby. Sorsby's not asked to do any sort of that stuff pre-snap, and I think Dante Moore a little bit, but again, not much there with Dante Moore either. So I think that is a little bit of a leap in terms of cognitive stuff that 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 Simpson does have over those guys. But what's hard to anticipate is like, but again, Mendoza's offers coming out of high school were Yale and Cal Berkeley. So like, obviously the kid's really smart, and
Right.
he's really smart with the football in his hands. So you kind of have to project a little bit, right? And that's what kind of makes some of this difficult. Um,
The Caden
anything else from this? Oh, sorry.
Proctor, the
Oh
Caden
yeah.
Proctor resurgence has come to a little bit of a halt. Got beat twice on spin moves. Did he have? And then I think one loss around the corner. He does
Mm-hmm.
a really good job protecting the edge, but you can tell that he's selling out.
Hard.
Yeah.
So I was having a conversation with Kyron Samuels about this, who's a big Bam. He's
Yeah.
from Alabama, and he's an NFL draft analyst. So obviously he's got a little bit of a
Creator
Bama
of
skew.
I think creator of Call the Family.
Call the
Right?
family, yeah.
First person I ever heard say that.
And I was telling him, I was like, I don't think Proctor can recover at all. And we talked about this a little bit off air too. Like his redirect and ability to recover is like non-existent because I think he is selling out. And I see the explosiveness. Like that explosiveness is
Yeah.
still there, and that's why it shows up in the run game because he can fire out and he can toss people. But the first sack he gave up was because he fired out, and then the defensive end and he matched the defensive end around the corner. Defensive end all he had to do was readjust and take back inside a little bit, and Proctor couldn't recover.
Yep.
And that's the first sack that he gave up early in that game. And it's just like that's tough for me to come back from because I think that fluidity is a positionless need, right? At every position, you need to have some sort of looseness in your hips, and I think Proctor is playing real tight, very tight, and so that's tough for me to kind of overlook.
Yep, I agree. Are we thinking back to school? Are we thinking like Emory Jones?
It's not Emory Jones bad. Maybe it is. I don't know.
To me, so I know you liked Emory Jones more
I
than
did
me
over the summer.
initially. To me, Caden Proctor is still like shown way more than Emory Jones ever did. Um,
Mm-hmm.
although Emory Jones is more prototypical.
Yeah.
Like I would take his, build for sure over
Oh yeah.
Proctor's.
I feel like again, I think Proctor would be better off as a guard, taking the Makai Becton path. Like again, he's massive. Like, that'd be a
To
massive
to
guard, but
me,
like,
he's like Eagles or Chiefs, pet
mhm.
project mid third round. Like, we have the conversation like what team, who's going to be the Caden Proctor team? Like I can just see that happening, and then
Mhm.
yeah, and then I can see everybody saying, "Oh, of course we let Jeff Stoutland get Caden Proctor."
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can.
And the thing
It's
is,
all
I still wouldn't
scripted.
be shocked if somebody took him first round because that's
Yeah,
just how big of a need there is along the offensive lines across the board in the NFL. Outside of like the Buccaneers, but even the Buccaneers have had injuries that like they're throwing Charlie Heck out there. So like there's need for offensive linemen across the board because there's just not enough 300-pound athletes in the world. So like somebody's gonna take this guy earlier than they probably should. I still think.
it's just like if you can go through his chest and you can beat him through the B gap.
If you can beat a 366-pound dude through his chest, it's not great.
Yeah, I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're on the same page there. All right, A&M LSU here. Boy, the wheels fell off for LSU in the second half of this game. They were leading going into halftime, and then A&M should have blown the doors off of them in the first half. They had that bad snap on the punt. They had an interception at the goal line. They had like a lot of stuff, like really dumb stuff, cost them. Des Ricks got a personal foul on a 3rd and long that gave LSU a first down, and then they ended up scoring a touchdown on that drive. So there was a lot that A&M did in the first half where they should have probably been up 3 scores at halftime anyway. But then they came out and they blew the doors off this game in the second half. From a draft perspective, man, like we've had this conversation week in and week out that Nussmeier just has a ceiling that we identified in the offseason and people had him as QB1, but it's like he keeps hitting the ceiling and he's not breaking through it. And I don't think he's going to ever break through it, that ceiling that like he has. Like it's not a glass ceiling. It's not. It's pretty firm. It's not drywall. It's not like drop ceiling. It's hardwood. Like he's not breaking through it. I just think Nuss is what he is, man.
Yeah, I thought you were gonna say Cassius Howe for every
Oh,
week because we do talk about him every week. It seems like, but yeah,
we
I
do.
mean, I agree on Nuss. He's behind Sorsby and Hoover for me.
Mm-hmm.
So he's QB7. I've got him above Beck, above Mateer,
Mm-hmm.
above Klubnik.
Above
Childs
Aller.
is Aller is like I have still have to decide what final grade, but he's day 3 for
Oh
sure.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, just a side note on Aller, I finished up his weighted on target percentage as well, and his weighted on target percentage is lower than Quinn Ewers was last year. If we want to have that conversation. So, but yeah, Nuss is a fine mid round quarterback. Nuss is, in my opinion, has always been a fine mid round quarterback. I like. We want to talk about like all these quarterbacks and their body typing and stuff like that, but we kept giving him a pass for being 6 foot, 200 pounds. Like
Yeah.
that's a terrible body as well on an NFL quarterback. So like, what about his profile made us think that this is a guy that needs to go or should go first round? Going back to last season, um, is
You
what it
got to
is.
be able to do more than throw a backside dig. Is what it comes down to.
Yep, yep.
But I mean,
All right.
Cassius Howe, like the 2 ghost moves, had another one where he would have
Mm-hmm.
gotten a sack if Nuss held onto the ball. I mean, there will be the arm length conversation. I don't know. I mean, he's making it kind of undeniable.
Yeah.
Does such a good job. I've been charting this whole edge class. He leads the edge class in ghost wins this year, and even ones that don't get charted as a ghost, like he does a really good job of like using that hand flash to set up his bull rush, set up other moves. Like he
Mhm.
strings stuff together really well, and the explosiveness not only like from point A to point B, but just the twitch in his body when he's sort of transitioning between moves makes it so difficult to key in on. So really like a technician as well as being extremely athletic.
Do we have a player that has gotten drafted highly at edge with 30-inch arms? Like, the closest thing I can think about is Hassan Reddick at 6'1", 237, but even he had 32-inch arms, and like he was
And he
drafted to
was
play off
drafted as a
ball.
linebacker. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let's see.
Let me check mock draftable real fast here. I'm interested.
I've got a. I have a better database than mock draftable.
Okay.
But yeah, check that.
Carl Lawson, 31 and a
Yeah.
half inch arms. But even Carl Lawson went what? Fourth round? Third round?
Okay, so like
Ashton Gelati this
shortest,
year.
you had the Murphy twins, Jerry Hughes, 30 and a half inch arms, Kyle
Okay.
Van Noy, 31 inches. You got
So
Jonathan
where was
Cooper right above
Jerry Hughes was a
31.
first round pick? I think Jerry Hughes is probably the one there, right?
Yep.
6'1", 255. So probably a little bit denser than Howell.
You had Jannard Avery
Mm-hmm.
with 31 inches.
He was a fifth round pick of the Browns.
What's Cassius Howe? 30 and a half?
30 and a half.
Yeah, the only other 30 and a halfs that I have are the Murphy twins.
Yeah. So Jerry Hughes, is that the comp we're gonna roll with
It's
here?
it's gonna have to be.
I mean, he went 31st overall, and he had a really really good NFL career.
Yeah.
Again,
You
6'1",
forget how good of an
255.
you forget how good of a career Jerry Hughes had
Uh-huh. You sure do.
until you pull him up on Sports Reference.
All right. Give me one sec here. Now I'm deep into the Cassius Howell rabbit hole here. Cassius Howell, 6'2", 249. So taller, a little bit smaller, verified. 249 feels probably his maxed out weight, but yeah, 30 and 6/8 inch arms. So not a little longer than 30 and a half. But yeah, Jerry Hughes feels like the comp to go with here.
Yeah.
Probably pretty similar athletes. Jerry Hughes ran a 4.69. I would say Howell might run faster than 4.69. Jerry Hughes' 10-yard split was only in the 72nd percentile as well. So yeah, Howell might be a better athlete than Hughes was even. So that's to say, like, do you think that like we could have the conversation about Cassius Howell going in the first round?
Well, I feel like the conversation is being had because that's sort of what I see, at least like top 40 for him. And I think I have him once my board loads, I think I have him 38. So I'm on board with top 40, but I think first round is probably pushing it because there's just a limit in terms of like locking out blocks at
Yeah.
249 pounds, sub 31-inch arms.
Yep. I would agree with that. I would agree with that.
And a zero, like the arm length is 30.75. The wingspan is 73 and a half inches, which is the shortest in my database.
Yeah. So that's tough. Another player, man, I want to talk about Chase Bizontis again, dude. Like, I almost gave Chase Bizontis another helmet sticker this week. Is it a hot take to say that this guy might be the best pass protector in college, like in the NFL draft? Like, flat out pass protector?
Let's see.
Like, cut out run
So
blocking, cut out the rest, just like as a straight up pass protector.
yeah, I mean, I would probably say yes. He's definitely guard.
Yeah.
Um, you know, Tiernan maybe, but yeah, I
Hmm.
think I think I think you're on it.
He's been unbelievable. Again, the run blocking stuff he does gets out over his skis still a little bit, but he's a good athlete and an elite pass protector this year for A&M. So I'm
One
all
of the
aboard the Chase
one of the
Bazantis
best
train right
hand
now.
fighters, one of the best hand fighters that you'll see at the college level, like insane stuff.
Yeah, I mean he went up against Gooden, who's like the 260-pound defensive tackle for LSU this past week, who only wins with hand fighting and
Right.
elusiveness, and like went round for round with him, both redirectability and hand fighting with him. So like I'm right there with you, man. Chase Bazantis just keeps blowing the doors off of it in pass pro here. Now, yes, improve the run game stuff a little bit. There are some balance issues in the run game, but in terms of pass protector, that base is beautiful. The hands are awesome. Redirectability is a great athlete. So yeah, I'm a huge Chase Bazantis fan. Anything else here for A&M LSU? Casey Concepcion had a nice punt return for a touchdown in this game.
Yeah. Um, I thought Will Lee. So he got. Let's see. Will Lee got mossed in the end zone by
Trade is
14.
the basketball player, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So that's
Yeah.
excusable, I guess. But came back with, I think, probably his best rep of the season, mirroring a stop route, which is his biggest weakness. I don't think he's played great this year. His stock has definitely slid from where I had him, which was top 32 player. But yeah, he stood out good and bad, and yeah, I think that's about it for me on that game.
All right. Ole Miss, Oklahoma. This should be a quick one. Mainly focusing on both of these quarterbacks, right? The conversation that may be the same conversation we have with Joey Aguilar, we should probably have about Trinidad Chambliss as well.
Yeah, I was predisposed to not like Trinidad Chambliss because of the offense and obviously the physical stature, and the size is a limiting factor for sure. So we're talking about max day 3 here, but
Mm-hmm.
they're asking him
But
to do
again,
more. They're
the
asking him to
same
do
body
more
type
stuff
as
than
Garrett Nussmeyer that
right.
we gave
Exactly.
Garrett Nussmeyer a pass for.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, I mean, which is why I've never had even a second round grade on Nussmeyer. But um, yeah, I mean, I think they're asking Chambliss to do more than they asked Jackson Dart to do for sure. He is like way more sharp as a processor, quick release. I like Trinidad Chambliss on day 3.
He's fearless. No, he's a gamer, dude. He's one of my favorite college football players this year to
Yeah,
watch. Like he's a gamer to the extreme. He's been a lot of fun stepping in there because honestly, he might have saved Ole Miss this season because I don't think if Austin Simmons gets hurt, they bench him. Like unless he gets hurt. So like,
yeah,
and
because he
Austin
was
Simmons was bad. Like
yeah
he was bad, and I think they would have hung with him all season. Um, so but Chambliss has taken that job and he hasn't let it go. And I've even had I heard from a scout that he said like in his area, if he's taking a quarterback, um, like to be a backup in the NFL level, it's going to be Trinidad. So in his area, so like he's got some NFL buzz for sure as that backup mold. He's a lot of fun, dude. He's a lot of fun. On the opposite end here, we got to talk about John Mateer a little bit too. Like again, always been a little hesitant with Mateer based on the eyes. Like I thought we really, really jumped the shark early in the season with the tools because the tools are like first round tools, right? Like, but the eyes were even really rough in like the Michigan game. The eyes were really rough early in the season, and the eyes have been really rough in the Texas game, and then this game, and so like we have to get to a point uh, from a scouting perspective, from an analyst perspective, as an evaluator perspective, like quarterback play is more than just these fun whippy arms, man. And I think we just tend to fall for these fun whippy arms. It's like, but he's not playing well. He's not playing good football. Like even in the Michigan game, which I think was his best game of the season, easily, I didn't feel like he played a great game. So like now we sit here and it's like, yeah, Mateer's a definite go back to school candidate.
yeah. I watched the game live and it didn't make the cut for my Monday study as far as Oklahoma offense to watch John Mateer. Although uh, do prefer Trinidad Chambliss, even regardless of Mateer has eligibility, right? Yeah.
One more year, yeah.
Um, yeah, I would take Chambliss over Mateer probably
Yeah.
if they were both in this class.
I would too. I would too. Um, I, he's fun, but again, the mistakes that Mateer's making has nothing to do with the thumb. Nothing to do with the thumb. It's all mental. So like, and that's the stuff that plagued his Washington State tape. Um, yeah, yeah. Anything else from this Ole Miss Oklahoma game you want to hit on?
Have you watched Prince Will Umanmielen at
I
all?
have not. No.
So I watched his
Princey's brother.
7 pressures because he had 7 in this game, and he moves very similarly to his brother, except has a lot less bend.
Mm.
Although I'm wondering if it's Oklahoma's field because I've seen, I know, like watching games live, that Oklahoma always has a choppy field. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it'll be interesting to see. But there were a few times where he got to the top of the rush and just skidded to a stop.
Interesting. Okay, keep an eye on that. All right, Baylor Cincinnati, man. I I'm a week away from being all the way on Brendan Sorsby. Like one more week. Well, who they got this week? Because I know they have still a as much of a gauntlet as there is in the Big 12, right? Because the Big 12 just beats up on each other. Um, I know they have Arizona coming up. Is that this week?
They got Utah this week.
Okay, yeah. So again, if we do this against Utah, if we come back and have the same conversation next week after the Utah game, I'm ready to say that this guy's going to go top 32. I'm going to say it right now.
Yeah, depending on the Utah game, I don't know. I feel like I'm a little bit behind you on him, although I am very intrigued. Like some of the moon balls that he's able to throw, the touch throws that he's with just a flick of a wrist is absurd.
So I was texting somebody about this today. Take Lenora Sillers out of the class. Brennan Sorsby has the best tools in this class.
Um, hmm. Yeah, probably.
From an an arm talent perspective, from a mobility and like legitimate chops as a runner as well. Like he put somebody like out of their skis, out of their shoes this week on that last drive when he had that read option touchdown. He legitimately juked them out of their shoes.
Are we saying like realistically in this class or eligible for this class?
Realistically in this class.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I would take Nico.
Yeah, probably Nico, but yeah, he's not coming.
Yeah. I would agree with that. No, I mean his arm slots, like the sprint out touchdown that he had, where it was literally like a dart throw.
Uh-huh.
That exact same motion. You just feel like I think the most impressive. Well, that's a reach, but some of the most impressive throws on his tapes are check downs, where it's like how
The
the
arm
hell
angle
were
falls.
you able to whip that out of there? Like the
Mm-hmm.
pocket's collapsing around him, and it's just finds an outlet effortlessly. So yeah, I love the arm slots. To me, my biggest hang up with him, I'm interested to hear what your accuracy charting is. I thought there were some sprays, and then there were examples of him working the middle of the field good. I watched his last 5 games or 4 games. I
Uh-huh.
watched back to the Kansas game, so I think that was 4 games today. And there were a couple of nice throws in the Kansas game over the middle of the field, but I thought over the last 3 weeks he's like been passing stuff up, getting to his check down too soon or too eager to bail from the pocket. At its best, though, the pocket movement is really good and sleek.
It's
And
really
like
good.
yeah, I think him and Ty Simpson have the best feel for edge pressure and like the ability to kind of explosively climb up as somebody's winning the corner. So a lot of intriguing stuff to work with for sure.
Yeah. So charting wise, and I'm missing the UCF game, so I need to go back a couple weeks and get the UCF game. 8 of 18 on the deep ball, which is below 50% there. 8 of 17 outside the numbers, so again below 50% there. 9 of 13 over the middle of the field though, and then 56 of 62 in the quick game, which is a really high level, which is very accurate there. And that's the stuff that I didn't see from Sorsby last year. So yes, does the deep ball stuff in the outside the number stuff need to get better? Yeah, but I'd be interested to go back and isolate like the last 3 versus like the Nebraska game, right? And this is where like I obviously need a full season worth of data to where it's going to even out a little bit. But man, I think you throw that Nebraska game out, and we're talking about a completely different quarterback here.
The quick game stuff is automatic, like 5 yards to the flat. They throw that so often. Looking at his heat
and that's
map,
that's
like,
the
that's
boring
the
stuff
darkest,
that quarterbacks have to do, man. Like it's everything else from there is a ceiling raiser, is icing on the cake. But like that's the stuff you have to be on time, and that's the stuff that Sellers is missing. Like ironically enough, like that's the stuff that Sellers isn't good at, and which is why I'm like ready to just punt him until next season. But like, yeah, I'm a week away. I think let's see how this Utah game goes, and I have a notorious jinx on players, so he'll probably go out and play like shit. But like we'll see how this goes this week with Sorsby. Have you watched Evan Pryor at all?
No,
the Cincinnati running back.
I've been.
He's an Ohio State transfer, so like obviously the pedigree is there. And again, he's splitting carries pretty much 50-50 with Tawi Walker. I've been pretty impressed with Pryor, and he left this game hurt as well, so like that stings. But Pryor's got some juice. He's got some juice there. How's your boy Jake Golday looking over these past few weeks?
Hey, he had a pass breakup on on Michael Trigg, 4th and 10. Really nice pass breakup in the hook. So a few stops. Nothing super impressive in this game, but yeah, it was a solid performance for him.
Love it. There's nothing to talk about with Baylor. Michael Trigg had an okay game. Josh Cameron's a fun player, but again, I think that's a day 3 player as well. The wide receiver wearing number 34 for Baylor. Baylor defensively is one of the worst defenses I watch every week. Yeah, so that's pretty much Sawyer Robertson. If you want to talk about Sawyer, that guy's going day 3. Like he's that's a day 3 player every day of the week, and I would probably not even pick him till late day 3. Like Will Howard went in the 6th round, and I would take
all
Will
the
Howard
other day 3
Sawyer
quarterbacks
Robertson.
that we've talked about up to this point. I would prefer over Sawyer Robertson.
Yes,
like I would take Drew Aller. I'd take Sawyer Robertson over Cade Klubnik, I think.
Oh, interesting. I think I would take Cade over Aller. They're both very bozo-brained, but I think I might take Cade over Aller.
Yeah, but I think Aller, Cade, it's like, what's the upside? Aller, so I did Aller's like a 1% chance that you get, a really good talent, maybe. A really long shot at getting a good talent.
Cade's a great athlete, though.
Cade's like a decent shot that you have like a solid backup or like a fringe starter.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I can agree there. I did my midseason quarterback rankings last week, a week and a half ago on my Substack, and the only quarterback I had below below Sawyer Robertson was Taylor Green. So, yeah. All right, last game here: Houston, Arizona State.
Yeah, just a couple things to mention from this game. Tanner Koziel had 7 for 100 and a touchdown, 3 for 3 on contested targets. We talked about him over the summer. He had led college football last year with 40 contested targets, but he caught 27 of them. He hasn't reversed course this year. He's 15 for 19. So like Jeez. He's huge. Listed at 6'7", plays above the rim, all of that. Like he is really effective at the one thing that he does well. When you watch him try to run routes, it's a school bus, but like there's some role for him as the like one target for 1 yard and 1 touchdown type of player.
Who's that Lions tight end from like 2014 who all he did was catch touchdowns, and that's it?
Oh, you're not talking about Eric Ebron.
No. He was like 6'7" and 260 pounds.
Oh, did his name start with a J?
Yes.
Jermaine.
No. I got it. Joseph Fourier. Do you remember Joseph Fourier?
No.
Okay. Joseph Fourier played for the Lions. He only played 2 seasons in the NFL, but his 2013 season, he had 18 catches on 30 targets for 207 yards and 7 touchdowns. And I think in one game he had, I'm remembering this because I think it might have been against the Browns actually. when I was like a junior in college in 2013. I would have been a junior in college. Yep, it was against the Browns. 2013, week 6, 3 catches, 34 yards, 3 touchdowns. Like
That's like those
Joseph,
Lenora Sellers, like 3 carries for 2 yards and 3 touchdowns.
yes.
Like, those stat lines.
So this is very much the player that I think of when I think of Tanner Gozio, who's gonna like at the NFL level, he's gonna have like he'll play longer, 2 years, I think, but like very similar stat lines where it's like you're gonna just throw the ball up to this guy when you're in the red zone because he's not getting open any other way.
Yep. And then Keith Abney, Arizona State corner, probably his worst game of the season in coverage. He had good coverage on a couple deep routes, but then they kept getting him with the same like rail concept. They need to do like a quick crash course in some of college football's most commonly used passing concepts because it was nothing crazy. Like they were just kind of running the same shit over and over again. But yeah, the reaction time's got to pick up there in zone match.
Yeah. Which is odd because I think in the Texas game last year it was a rail. He broke on a rail, flipped his hips, and broke it up along the sideline.
I thought that was a strength heading into
the
year. Yeah.
Yeah. I still think I would probably lean towards Abney declaring this year. We'll kind of see how that plays out moving down through the rest of the season. But Big 12, man, like I love the Big 12. We talked about
Big 12 is so fun.
It's just like it's like a Mad Max movie. It's just everybody in the desert hunting each other.
They've got enough good players to where there's still good football, and there's enough like just terrible parts of rosters to where you can just have crazy numbers. So it's like perfect.
You'll have teams like way skewed in the rankings. Like this past weekend, BYU was ranked. It was ranked in the top 20. Iowa State's not ranked, and Iowa State was a 2.5-point favorite in that game.
Yeah.
BYU obviously won, but it's like the Big 12 is just so much fun. It's so much fun. But that's it, man. That's all we got this week on this episode. You got anything else for the people before we head out of here?
That's it. Just over an hour.
All right. Well, until tomorrow, we will be back. But this has been another episode of the Daft on Draft podcast.